Well, as she says so, I suppose, but I still think you're overtired. Anyway, come on, we're live. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. This is Lacey. I hope you've all had a pretty week. I had a pretty week, didn't I, Bert? Until...
Yes, until. Oh, well, never mind. What are you going to remember today, sweetie girl?
Well, I want that story about the beautiful fairy, Sparkelonne, and how she folded out of the sky.
Yes, I think you need to remember that one.
Oh, stop frowning at me like that. I'm gonna be okay. Stop frowning at me and do the magic. You silly old pointy-head old worried old lep, you.
Magic voices fill the air. Magic memories take us there.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint Eva Rose, but she can't come over today. Lacey's not too good. What? No, nothing catching. No, she's going to be fine. She just needs a few extra hours in bed, that's all. She's overtired. She just needs a bit of extra sleep. No, I promise. No, there's nothing to worry about. Honestly, she's fine apart from that. What? Oh, yes, of course, if you want me to. I'll give you a ring tomorrow. Okay.
What was all that about?
Oh, she wanted to know if Lacey had the measles or a cold or the flu or something that Eva Rose could catch off her.
Is that woman a tad overprotective, or is it just me?
She's more than a tad overprotective. But it's not for us to judge, is it?
But Elle, you've seen how kind of drawn in Eva Rose is. She doesn't even like to be outside. Couldn't you do something?
Like what exactly?
Like, try and help. Lacey would be like that too if you were like, what's her name? Sarah Beth, is it? But you're not. Couldn't you take her under your wing and try and get her not to hold on so tight?
I don't know. I don't really have any right to meddle. It's none of my business after all.
Well, I think it is our business if we see a child, especially a Sparkelonne child, who could be so much happier than she is, to do something to help it happen.
I'll think about it. That's all I'm going to say for the moment. Now, suppose we concentrate on our own Sparkelonne child. I want to keep her in bed today. She's been rocketing about between here and Eva Rose's for the last 2 weeks and is absolutely caught up with her. I want her to relax and do nothing for the next few days. Will you help me to cosset her, sweetie?
Of course I will, Elle. Poor little impy. I'll make all her favourite things, and when you and Brian go out with Alfie tomorrow, we'll have one of our nice days.
Oh, what would I do without you? You're brilliant.
Yes, I am, aren't I?
There you are, King Oven. That's peanut butter and jelly, your favourite. Thank you. Please call again. Next, please. Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Bulldog. What can I get you?
I'll have a sub with beef, ham, sausage, bacon, cheese, dill pickle, mustard, onion rings. Oh, and plenty of ketchup, please.
Yes, this is... coming right up, Mr. Bulldog. Coming right up. Goodness gracious, beef, ham... Bert, which one is the sub?
I think it's this one, Impy. This one that looks like half a big long roll. I wonder if you're supposed to pile all the pretend fillings on the open. Oh no, look, there are 2 of them. You can make a proper sandwich. Isn't this a wicked sandwich set that Mummy and Daddy got you? It's much better than that wooden one you were looking at.
Yes, it is, my Bert. It is. Now, what did all the things that Mr. Bulldog wanted then?
Uh-oh, my little Impy's getting tired. Come on, time to put these away for now.
Oh no, Bert! I haven't finished doing Mr. Bulldog's sandwich.
You know what Mummy said about you getting overtired. No arguments, please. Pack them all up like a good imp. Then we'll snuggle up here and do something quiet.
Oh, right. Help me, Icky. I have to pat all these away. Where did I put the Swiss cheese with all the holes in there? Have you got the ham, Icky? Oh, there's the ham. I need the roast beef. It's over there. Bert, Why did I get so tired? I don't like it. Where's the sausage, Icky? Oh, there. Why did I get so... I don't like this. I'm a big girl.
Being a big girl doesn't have anything to do with it, Lacey loves. Everybody gets overtired if they do too much too fast. Mummy and Daddy do. I do. Even fairies do. Do you know, there was one fairy who did too much when she was little, and she didn't listen to her mummy, and she fell right out of the sky.
Oh, no. What happened to her?
Well, it could have been very nasty indeed, but for a little girl who just happened to be in her garden playing at the time. Would you like to hear the story?
Oh, yes. We do want to hear, don't we, Icky? Now, snuggle down. Put your feet up, Icky. Get comfortable like that. Now, are you ready, Icky? Now, remember what I told you, Icky, darling, about interrupting with your silly questions and chatter, because I know what you can be like, you see. So you must be very, very good. We're ready now, my bird.
Oh, Impy. Well, once upon a time, there was a beautiful fairy named Lightheart.
That's a pretty name.
She grew up in fairyland, but she loved all living things and wanted to do good things for them. So when she was grown, she settled in a wood in the world of humans, living among her own kind who were also working magic there.
I knew there were real fairies. We always believed it, didn't we, Icky?
You're a good Impy. And Icky's pretty good as well. And you're right, you see. Among the wood fairies, Lightheart met Fleetwing. Now he could fly faster than the wind.
Oh, wow.
Well, they became good friends and went on many magical missions together. Before long they fell in love and were married by the fairy queen on Midsummer's Night.
Oh, how lovely.
Now in due time a daughter was born to them. She was the most beautiful fairy the woods had ever seen, Impy. The light seemed to shine from her skin, to glitter on her silver hair, and to shimmer in her deep blue eyes. Lightheart and Fleetwing were both proud of and overjoyed with their little daughter, and they named her Sparkelonne.
Oh, what a beautiful name.
She was a lovely fairy, but she grew up wild, Impy. She didn't like to be tied down. She wasn't interested in learning about magic or how to do good things for the world in which she and her family lived. She just wanted to soar into the sky, fly on the wind, explore all she could, and have a great time.
Well, she was only little. I suppose, didn't she learn all those things later and play all the time first?
Well, we'll see, won't we? Now, Lightheart was getting worried about her little daughter. She was getting bigger, and her wings were getting stronger every day. She could fly very fast like her father, but Lightheart knew there were limits to her strength. So one day, when Lightheart was washing clothes in her walnut-shell tub, she called to Sparkelonne as she flew past the door of their treehouse. Sparkelonne almost didn't go back, but her mother's normally laughing face was serious, so she alighted on the tree branch and went inside.
Oh, and what did Lightheart have to say?
If that Icky asks any more silly questions, I might just go away and not tell you another thing. Now, Impy, make him be quiet.
Oh, it wasn't Icky this time, it was me. I sorry, man, Bert, I sorry. Ever Rose told me I shouldn't blame Icky for everything and shout at him all the time, or he might go away, and she was right. I sorry, Bert. Please go on.
All right. Little daughter, said Lightheart, I have something to say to you. Why, mother, laughed Sparkelonne, I haven't been in mischief today. What can be the matter that you look so serious and stern? Hush your tongue, my child, and you will hear, said Lightheart, in such a serious voice that Sparkelonne stopped dancing about the kitchen and stood quietly beside her mother's wash-tub. Now, went on Lightheart, you are growing up strong, well, and beautiful. You love the sky and the wind like your father. But there are things here on the earth you should love too. The earth gives its blessings to you every day, and you must learn to give good things back. Do not give all your heart to the sky, or you will become as unheeding and as careless as the butterfly, who only lives for a day, then falls from the air, never more to be seen by human or fairy.
Oh, goodness gracious, that wouldn't be good, would it, man, Bert?
No, it wouldn't, Impy. Sparkelonne stood for a moment, watching her mother's arms going up and down, as she scrubbed the clothes in the soft rainwater and the lather from the soap-wort she'd picked by the stream. She thought of staying on the ground, learning magic with the other young fairies of her age, beginning serious work. Then she shook the thought away. "Oh, where's starfall and moonshine, Mother?" she cried, tossing her head so that her beautiful hair shimmered and glittered. "I'm far too young to be thinking of anything serious and gloomy. I want to have my fun, and by the stars I'm going to have it." She took a huge leap off the ground, spread her beautiful wings, and whirred out of the kitchen and off into the blue in a cloud of sparkles.
I think she's a bit naughty, Bert. I really do. She should listen to her mummy.
"You're right, Impy." Lightheart watched the cloud of sparkles disappear. "No good will come of this," she said sadly to herself, then went back to her washing. Sparkelonne rose into the air, soaring higher and higher. She felt more wild and reckless than she had ever before. A child, was she? Fit only for lectures, was she? Supposed to stay on the ground with all the other scaredy ones and grub away at spells and lessons until she forgot the feel of riding on the wind, and the names of the stars, and her friendship with the great eagles who sometimes let her ride them? Well, she would show them. She would fly far away to Golden Sun Mountain and bring back an ever-bright crystal. Then she could do any magic they wanted, only better. Of course, Golden Sun Mountain was an awfully long way away. But wasn't she Sparkelonne, daughter of Fleetwing, the fastest of all the wood fairies? She would be there and back before anyone knew she had even gone. They'd see.
Oh, goodness. Oh, dear. Oh, she is a bit naughty, isn't she, Eeky? She should tell somebody where she's doing, shouldn't she, Eeky?
Actually, she's quite a lot naughty, Impy. It's very silly to go off and not tell anyone for whatever reason. And you remember that too, Eeky. Anyway, Sparkelonne flew up into the clouds, higher and higher. She flew a very, very long way, right away from the woods she knew, over fields, mountains, meadows, till she came to cities and towns. Then something happened which had never happened before. Her wings began to ache. Her eyes began to cloud over with weariness. She dropped into cloud, then came out again, and she was much lower down. She could see lands below her that she'd never seen and didn't recognize. Long rows of houses that looked like little boxes from this height, with little squares of green in front and behind them.
That's like the places we live in.
That's right. Suddenly, her wings just stopped working. They just absolutely refused to give one more beat. They dropped limply to her back and just hung there, and Sparkelonne started to fall out of the sky.
Oh, no. Lightheart said it would happen, didn't she, Eeky?
That's right. It takes a while for someone to fall a long way. Not a very long while, but quite a few seconds. Time to think. Poor Sparkelonne thought, Mother warned me. She said it would be like the butterflies who fall out of the air for no one to see more. I shall never see my home again. Oh, I wish I had listened to Mother. And then she landed plop into something soft and warm.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Where did she land, mine Bert? We want to know, don't we, Eeky? Tell us.
Well, it happened like this. Sparkelonne was flying over a quiet street of those little houses with gardens, and in one of these gardens a little girl called Penny was playing alone. Penny liked to watch birds and pick daisies, quiet things like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, one of the things that Penny liked best was to sit in a little den she'd made and watch for fairies. She didn't really ever expect to see any, but something inside her always hoped. Now this day, Penny saw something with wings dropping out of the sky, and she took it to be a baby bird who was just learning to fly. She knew if it hit the ground, that would be the end of it. So she stood up quickly and put out her hands to catch it. She thought she would miss it, but she didn't. Sparkelonne fell plop into Penny's warm little hands and knocked the breath out of herself completely.
My goodness. Was Penny surprised to see a real-life fairy?
Well, yes and no, Impy. She was surprised, but she had always believed in fairies, so she was less surprised than someone who had never believed they were real would have been. She knew she must keep the fairy a secret, though. Now, Sparkelonne had knocked the breath out of herself, as I said, and after that she was so weary with flying that her eyes just closed of their own accord, so that she lay fast asleep on Penny's hand.
Oh, poor little Finn.
Penny wondered what to do, and then she had an idea. Didn't she still have the cage her old Budgie had lived in? That would be really nice and big for a fairy. She could put furniture inside it from her doll's house, make it into a lovely little home. Yes, that was it. She would keep the fairy in her den and have her as her special friend for always and always.
I don't think Sparkelonne will want to stay.
Well, just 1 minute and you'll see. Penny did her very best to look after Sparkelonne. She put her to sleep in a tiny doll's bed with real soft covers. But Sparkelonne cried. The bed was so hard compared to the hazel shell lined with thistledown she usually slept in, and the human material felt coarse and rough compared to the flower petal coverlet she was used to. Penny brought Sparkelonne dainty little meals, pieces saved from her own food, and served it on her own china tea set. She poured her favourite fizzy drink into a pretty flowered china cup. But Sparkelonne cried. She only wanted fresh water. She was able to eat very little of the food, and what she could eat made her feel ill. The pretty china was too heavy for her to hold.
Oh, poor Sparkelonne.
Penny tried many times to get Sparkelonne to play with her, but she was too small to play with toys or dolls. She knew no games, and didn't even have a magic wand. But still she was a fairy, and Penny kept her in the den, hoping one day that she would be friends. But Sparkelonne cried and cried, flew around and around the cage, climbed restlessly up and down the little ladder which had been the budgies, and, every time she saw Penny, begged piteously to be let out.
Oh, come on, Penny. Let her out.
Well, after about 3 days, Sparkelonne's strength had come back to her, in spite of not too much food and having to sleep on a doll's house bed. She stopped crying and began to rattle the bars of the cage angrily. This frightened Penny. "Why are you so angry?" she asked when she brought Sparkelonne's lunch. "I've looked after you, given you my own doll's house furniture, fed you from my own tea set. I want to be your friend." "Little girl," said Sparkelonne, fluttering up to the front of the cage, "if you want to be my friend, you will open that door and let me go free. I am a wild and magical creature. I belong to the sky and the wind. My home is far away in the woods. If I had heeded my mother and not flown so far, I would not even be here. I would be with my own kind, learning my lessons as I should. I truly ask that you let me return to my home. I will die if you cage me here much longer."
Oh, now come on, Penny. Come on, be good.
Penny began to cry. "But I always wanted a fairy for my special friend," she said. Sparkelonne looked at Penny with her beautiful blue eyes and shook her hair until it shimmered on her shoulders. "If you will let me go free," she said, "I will be your friend and will always come back to see you all your life long. I promise by the stars." At that, Penny danced around the den. She opened the door of the cage. Sparkelonne stretched her beautiful iridescent pearly wings, flew once around Penny, then soared high, high into the sky and headed for home.
Oh, was her Mummy and Daddy really, really happy to see her, my bird?
Oh, yes, they were, Impy. They'd been awfully worried about her.
And did she behave herself after that? Was she a good fairy and not flying away anymore? Did she behave, my bird?
Well, she still had wildness in her, so sometimes she forgot herself, Impy. But she did start to learn her magic lessons with the other young fairies, and she was a lot more careful about how far she flew. I'll tell you another thing, too. She never forgot Penny. It was wrong of Penny to shut a fairy in a cage, but it did save Sparkelonne's life. Sparkelonne used to come and visit Penny from time to time, when she was a little girl, all through her childhood and all through her life, until she was an old, old lady. Sparkelonne never forgot, though her heart still belonged to the sky, that for things to go right, there has to be a balance. You can't have play without work. You can't have lots of flying around without enough rest. You can't have the sky without the earth.
Oh, my Bert, you're so wonderful and you're so sneaky. Don't think Itty and me don't know what that one's all about.
I don't know what you mean, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does. Let's tickle him.
You're tickling me.
Oh,
No, you're not tickling me after I've told you a nice story. Or I won't make corn dogs for dinner. No, get off, get off, Impy. Oh, Icky, make her stop it. Ouch, I don't like it, oh, Impy.